Have you ever felt exhausted inside your own home? Why is it that the people who share your blood, the ones who are supposed to be your rear guard, are the first to crush your dreams with judgments made in the name of concern? We are lulled into the illusion that blood ties are a kind of eternal protective charm, an absolutely safe zone where betrayal has no way in. But look at the times you were restrained, emotionally manipulated, or stripped of opportunities in the name of what's best for you. Was that family love? Or was it a subtle invasion of your right to decide the course of your own life? In The Prince, Niccolo Machiavelli pointed out that the most dangerous enemy is not the one holding a sword in front of you, but the one who holds the key to your bedroom door. The greatest cruelty does not lie in open aggression, but in the complete understanding of your every weakness, only to exploit them when you are least guarded. The moment you treat family as an unbreakable fortress, you unknowingly hand them the ultimate power to destroy you from within without having to spend a single soldier. It is time for you to wake up from the dream of unconditional love and see through the calculations, jealousy, and control hiding behind the mask of family affection. If you do not want to keep being a sacrificial pawn in the power game of your own family, this video is for you. I will strip bare the faces of 4 types of relatives you must never, under any circumstances, place your full trust in. Watch until the end to learn how to re-establish your boundaries, protect your own destiny, and stop letting blood become the chains that drag you into the abyss. Ruthless truth. Have you ever wondered why a business rival, no matter how scheming, can hardly bring you down? Yet a single judgment spoken at the family dinner table can keep you awake for an entire week. The truth is, enemies on the outside can only attack what you reveal, while relatives possess the topographic map of your inner world. They do not need to spend effort investigating. They already hold the exact coordinates of your deepest hidden fears, your wounds that have not yet had time to heal, and even the burning desires you once carelessly revealed. In this game of power, understanding is a weapon, and family affection is sometimes nothing more than a screen for invasions carried out through guilt. 5 centuries ago, amid the magnificent yet intrigue-filled corridors of Florence, Niccolo Machiavelli stood there, observing a ruthless reality. Dynasties did not collapse because of foreign enemies, but because of poisonous whispers from cousins, because of the jealousy of those who shared the same bloodline. He distilled a chilling truth. Blood loyalty often evaporates the moment it collides with personal interest or a wounded ego. A person may forgive an enemy, but rarely forgives a relative who is more successful than they are. Today, we are not sitting here to judge right and wrong in a moral sense, but to learn how to survive. I will break down the faces of 4 types of family members who are silently draining your life force under the name of blood duty. If you are brave enough to see through the fog of deception and ready to protect your own destiny, leave the comment "Philosophy Power." It is not just a line of text, it is the wake-up bell of an independent mind. A declaration that from this moment on, you will never again allow family ties to become your chains, the one who manipulates through sacrifice. Welcome back, warriors, to the space of naked truths. I know today's title will make many of you feel a sharp ache in your chest, feel offended, even want to shut this podcast off immediately and return to the safe shell of being the dutiful child. But stop for a moment. If you are still struggling at 25 or 30 with a stagnant career and a soul that is constantly terrified of disappointing someone, then perhaps you do not lack ability. You are simply being chained by the neck with something called favor. You were taught that the person who sacrifices for the family is the most trustworthy one. But Machiavelli would tell you to look more carefully, because in many cases, sacrifice that is excessively displayed is not an expression of love, but a quiet tool for claiming control. The greatest danger does not lie in the one who openly imposes on you, but in the one who constantly reminds you of how much they have done for you, only to turn your gratitude into a binding rope. And when a person uses their giving as proof that you must obey, then what they are building is no longer family affection, but a deliberate emotional debt. Let us be honest with each other, shall we? Haven't you always lived inside a herd mentality that says, my parents struggled their whole lives, went without food and proper clothing, so I could have what I have today. So everything they say is true. To disobey them is unfilial, sinful, the behavior of an ungrateful animal. Congratulations. You have fallen perfectly into the moral trap this society sets to erase your personal identity. Machiavelli, in the Blood and Fire pages of The Prince, affirmed a cold logic of power in politics as in relationships. The one who grants favors is the one who wants to control the recipient. Sacrifice without respect for freedom is, in truth, a debt contract you are forced to sign in blood before you are even conscious enough to understand it. I want you to imagine a scenario like this, an allegory that should make any man out there who is still fighting for breath shudder. Imagine that you are on a boat in the middle of a freezing ocean. One companion keeps taking off their only coat and throwing it over your shoulders, giving you the last piece of bread, straining to row in your place, and whispering constantly that they do it all only because they want you to suffer less. At first, your heart melts with gratitude, but when night falls, the waves turn violent, and at the exact moment you want to take the wheel and change the boat's direction to escape the dangerous waters. That person stops your hand. They do not scream, "I want to be in control." They simply look straight into your eyes with tears in theirs and say, "After everything I have endured for you, you are going to cast aside what I want." That is the moment you realize the true price of that coat and that piece of bread. They were never free gifts. They were invisible ropes. Every time they carry part of your hardship for you, they quietly take away part of your right to decide for yourself. They do not need guns or whips, because emotional debt already does the work of the most talented jailer. The more you feel like a debtor, the more guilty you feel when you want to live your own life. And in the end, you are no longer a grown man conquering the world. You are only a debtor slowly wasting away to pay interest on sacrifices they deliberately laid out before you. These manipulators want you to see them as saviors, so that you never realize they are also the ones gripping the wheel and steering your boat into the shallow waters of mediocrity. From the perspective of dark psychology, this is exactly covert narcissism. Studies on group dynamics have shown that human beings tend to repay favors blindly in order to avoid the feeling of being cast out by the community. The manipulator knows this well. They invest and sacrifice to buy a veto right over your future. They use their past to suffocate your present. It is ridiculous that so many men out there worship alpha archetypes like Batman or the decisive warriors of Sparta, yet do not dare say no to an unreasonable family demand just because they are afraid that mom will be sad. Do you think Batman would have become a legend if he sat around all day listening to safety advice from an uncle who never dared step outside his own comfort zone? Ridiculous. The core principle you must carve into your bones is this: gratitude does not mean surrendering your right to decide. You may repay a debt with money, with care, with expensive gifts, but you must never, under any circumstances, use your future, your career, or your romantic happiness as a sacrificial offering. Start separating emotion from the logic of power. When they bring up their sacrifices, nod. Listen. Thank them politely. That is the bearing of an educated person. But when the moment comes to make a decision, look at the facts. Look at the goal. And listen to the instincts of a conqueror. Apply Machiavelli's 70-30 rule. Obey and yield in 70% of the small, insignificant matters such as rituals, eating habits, or clothing to preserve that artificial harmony. But hold on to 100% control over the 3 life and death pillars: the career you choose, the finances you control, and the woman you take as your wife. Do not let yourself become a mama's boy in a suit, sitting in a luxurious office while your soul is still waiting for orders from the family dinner table. Ask yourself this painful question: are you living to repay your parents' regrets from the past? Or are you building an empire so that your own children will one day be free? If you choose the second path, then carry out a ritual of awakening right now. Write down a list of 3 major decisions you made only because you were afraid of hurting a relative's feelings. Look at that list and see how cowardly you have been. Next week, I challenge you to take one action, no matter how small, entirely according to your own will, without asking permission from or explaining yourself to anyone. Do not explain. Do not justify. Only the weak need to explain. The strong only need to act. If you are tired of being an emotional debtor and want to reclaim the backbone of a real man, leave this comment: I choose strength. My future is not for repaying debt. This is your pact with yourself. Do not let yourself die in a boat whose wheel is in someone else's hands. Subscribe to Philosophy Power now, if you dare face brutal truths to grow stronger every day. The journey of escaping the blood ties cage has only just begun. My friend, the jealous brother or sister hiding behind the mask of being on the same side. We have just moved past the wound of manipulative sacrifice, and now take a deep breath, because the next blade I am about to expose is far colder and far sharper. It does not come from those above you, but from those beside you, the people who ate at the same table and slept under the same roof with you throughout childhood. Let us turn back time to the year 1483. In the mist-covered palace of England, when King Edward IV died, his son, a boy, far too young, was supposed to inherit the throne under the title Edward V. At that very moment, his uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, stepped in. He did not come carrying swords and spears to storm the fortress. No, Richard entered under a very noble, very family pretext: to protect his orphaned nephew, to protect the continuity of the House of York. On the surface, Richard stood on the same side as his own bloodline. He did not rush in like an enemy. He came forward as the most trustworthy relative of all. But look at how brutal reality actually unfolded. Step by step, Richard separated Edward V and his younger brother from their loyal advisors, brought the two princes into the Tower of London under the pretext of ensuring absolute safety. Then, soon after, he declared their father's marriage illegitimate, stripped his nephews of their legitimacy, and placed the crown upon his own head under the title Richard III. The two poor children vanished forever into the darkness of the tower, leaving behind one of the most horrifying stains in English royal history: the princes in the tower. What is it here that should send chills down your spine? It is not that Richard was a tyrant, but that he never appeared in the form of an enemy until it was too late. He was family. He was on the same side. He was blood. That is exactly the portrait of the jealous brothers and sisters standing right beside you today. They do not openly stab you in front of the world the way outside rivals do. They stay close to you long enough, smile and speak warmly enough to find the right moment, the right place, and pull you out of the position that was supposed to be yours. Are you still clinging tightly to the naive mindset of the masses that says, blood siblings will definitely want what is best for me. They criticize me harshly only because they want me to improve. Wake up, Machiavelli taught us a lesson written in blood. The one closest to you is the one who knows best where the gaps are beneath your armor, so they can take you down when necessary. In the world of power and advancement, the greatest jealousy does not come from strangers. It comes from those who started from the same point as you, but now have to watch you run faster than they do. From a psychological perspective, this is social comparison theory at its most extreme. One study showed that the human brain reacts more strongly to the success of people who are similar to us. When you suddenly buy an apartment in Manhattan or build $1 million startup, that does not inspire the younger or older sibling who has always seen themselves as your equal. It reminds them of their own failure and laziness. The presence of a successful sibling is a constant slap across the self-esteem of a mediocre person. The core principle you need to drive into your head is this: empathy is not the same as solidarity. They may shed a few sympathetic tears when they see you stumble, because at that moment, you are no longer a threat. But they will fall into a state of psychological panic when they see you become wealthy or rise to a higher position than they have. They will begin using the tactic of sincere advice to plant doubt, dragging out the mistakes you made in your foolish youth and repeating them in front of your business partners or your girlfriend as if it were all just a joke, when the real purpose is only to pull you back down to their level. So how do you apply Machiavelli's philosophy to real life? First, learn how to stay hidden and wait for your moment. Never show off your big plans or your real income to jealous brothers or sisters. Always make it seem like everything is still normal. I'm dealing with a few small problems. Let them believe that you are still struggling just like they are. Second, eliminate expectation. Do not seek validation or applause from them. Recognition from an envious person is only a form of poison coated in sugar. When you succeed, let your brilliant results speak for themselves. Do not waste time explaining the process to people who are only waiting for you to expose a weakness so they can mock you. Stop and question yourself seriously. The last time you shared a major success, did they congratulate you with sparkling eyes? Or did they immediately drag out some stale mistake from 5 years ago to remind you not to get arrogant? Do you see the irony here? It is like you have just won a gold medal, and they say, "That's pretty impressive. But remember how you used to wet the bed back in the day? That is not a joke. That is an attack on your status." I have a challenge for you, a ritual to affirm your personal power. Review all of your major plans for the next 6 months. Who is the first person you intend to tell, to show off? If the name that comes to mind is that brother or sister who always looks at you with scrutiny and envy, stop immediately. Keep that secret for at least 3 more months. Let solitude nourish your strength until your empire is solid enough that no one can shake it. Do not turn yourself into a prince imprisoned in a tower simply because you trusted too much in the label of family. If you are ready to break this blood tie trap and move forward, leave this comment: I keep silent. I keep power. Treat it as a strategic pact with yourself. Do not let blind kindness turn you into a supporting character in someone else's success story. Act or continue being eliminated by your own siblings. Do you choose to be Richard? Or do you choose to be the child who disappears into the darkness? The decision lies in your clarity right now. If you want to learn more about the dark psychological tactics that can protect you from the enemies closest to you, join our community of people who dare to awaken. Subscribe if you are sick of being prey. The relatives who love to meddle in everyone's business. We have just stripped bare the ones who stab you in the back and the ones who imprison you in the name of sacrifice. Now, let us turn our attention to another force, one that may seem louder and more harmless on the surface, yet whose destructive power over a man's destiny is quiet and persistent, like a form of acid erosion. Have you ever felt suffocated at your own family gathering, when intrusive questions kept flying at you like stray bullets? If so, then listen carefully. Within a family, there is a type of person who seems harmless because they do not hit you, do not openly block you, yet constantly want to step into every decision in your life as if they hold ownership over your future. They ask too many questions, intrude too deeply, comment too broadly, and always invoke life experience to legitimize their invasion of your personal boundaries. But Machiavelli would remind you that anyone who wants to know too much about your life is not merely being curious. More often, they are looking for a position from which to exert influence. And from the moment someone treats your business as their business, you must understand that this is no longer a matter of care, but a struggle for the right to interfere in your life. You are still holding on to the naive mindset of an elementary school child that says they are elders. They are asking because they care about the family situation, so I should honestly report everything to receive their guidance. Wake up. My friend, Machiavelli, the master of seeing through the darkest plots of the Renaissance courts, taught us a supreme truth. Information is power. In the hands of an idle person, information about your private life is not a secret to be protected. It is merchandise to be traded for attention. When you tell an aunt or uncle about your startup project that is still in its infancy, or about the trouble you are having with your girlfriend, you are not receiving advice. You are supplying free material for the family's stage play tomorrow morning. Have you ever wondered why news of your boss scolding you reaches the entire extended family faster than the speed of light? That is because, within the power structure of mediocre people, possessing someone else's secrets is the only way they can feel important. They do not have a brilliant life of their own to live, so they must live through judging yours. From the perspective of social psychology, this is precisely the behavior of status seeking through gossip. Studies have proven that sharing negative information about other people helps human beings create an artificial bond and reinforce their status within the group. When they gossip about how you have a low salary or still haven't bought a house, they are implicitly asserting that their lives, no matter how dull they may be, are still more stable and more proper than yours. They need your failure or your instability as the backdrop that gives meaning to their own meaningless existence. Machiavelli would smirk at your honesty. He would say, never turn your private life into the script for someone else's play. You must understand that the mouths of relatives are the graveyards of dreams. Revealing your plans to them is the fastest way for both relatives and neighbors to judge you and try to stop you before you have even begun. Their doubt is like a virus. It will invade your mind and make you question yourself at the exact moment you need decisiveness the most. So what is our practical solution? We do not argue And we do not act rudely, because the strong do not need to shout. We will use the technique of the closed answer, a kind of iron armor for information. When they ask about your salary, do not give them a number that gives them a chance to compare you to someone else's child. Smile and say, "It's enough to live on." When they ask about marriage, do not tell them about difficulties in your relationship. Answer, "When I get married." You'll be the first to know. Never give numbers. Never give names. Never give specific details. Turn yourself into an unknown variable. Along with that, apply the strategy of redirecting the target. Everyone is narcissistic. Ask them questions in return about their children, their high blood pressure, or their garden. Give them the chance to show off, to have their egos stroked. When they become absorbed in talking about their own greatness, they will forget all about trying to pry into your life. That is how you control the conversation without spending even a little strength. Before you decide to open up to a meddling relative, ask yourself one question. If the secret I am about to reveal is known by the whole neighborhood tomorrow morning, will I still be calm enough to keep working? If the answer is no, then keep your mouth shut. Imagine that your life is like a house still under construction. The foundation has just been poured. The walls have not even had time to dry. And the blueprint is not yet fully complete. But every few days, a neighbor or a relative walks in. One taps on the wall and says, "This part should be torn down because it is bad feng shui." Another says the front door faces the wrong direction according to ancestral experience. Someone else insists the kitchen has to be moved somewhere else for your finances to be secure. Look carefully, not one of them lives in that house. Not one of them spends a single dollar paying for it. And certainly, not one of them will bear responsibility if that roof collapses on your head. Yet all of them love pointing at the blueprint of your life as if they were the chief architect. At first, you think that it is just a concern, just a family feeling. Then you adjust one little thing for this person to keep them happy. Listen to another person a little, so you will not be accused of being disrespectful. And indulge someone else a bit more to preserve harmony. And what is the result? The house of your life no longer follows any clear blueprint at all. It becomes a patchwork mess, distorted and misshapen. And most importantly, it is no longer a house built for you, but a pile of compromises constructed from the voices of people who only want to stick their hands in so they can feel powerful. That is the bitter truth about these meddling aunts and uncles. They do not need to steal your life through violence. They only need to intrude often enough, a little every day, until you lose the wheel on your own. And when that house ends up with a crooked foundation and falling apart, the one who has to suffer in that suffocation and ruin is you, never them. They will simply move on to pointing and lecturing at someone else's construction site, leaving you behind with a pile of wreckage called family advice. I have a challenge for you at the next family gathering. Practice the reflex of strategic silence. Before every intrusive question about your private life, smile brightly, look them straight in the eyes, and remain silent for exactly 3 seconds before giving a vague, harmless answer. Those 3 seconds are the moment you take back control, the moment you remind yourself that you are the owner of this information. Write this in the comments: my life. I design it myself. Treat it as a hard declaration that your boundaries are inviolable. Do not let these freelance architects ruin the greatest construction project of your life. If you want to know how to build psychological armor that cannot be pierced, stay with me. Do not be a coward who lives to please the crowd. Be strong enough to master yourself. The failed elders who love to lecture. We have made our way through 3 layers of hell, made of manipulation and jealousy. Now, prepare yourself for the final slap. The slap against the naivety called blind respect for elders. I want to ask you one question. Have you ever had to sit for hours listening to an uncle, an older relative, or even your own father lecture you about how to get rich, how to deal with people, while they themselves are living a life full of debt, dead ends, and unfinished failures? If that sounds familiar, then my condolences. You are being poisoned by the beggars of old stories within your own family. Older does not always mean wiser, and not everyone who speaks in a seasoned tone truly has the standing to guide you. In many families, the people who love lecturing the most are precisely the ones who have never managed to build the kind of life they keep telling others to live. They do not give you results to follow, they only hand you fears, limitation, and lessons extracted from their own surrender to life. Machiavelli never taught people to bow to the title of elder. He forced you to look at the true nature of power. And here, the truth is brutally cold. Advice from a failed person is often not meant to clear a path for you, but to make you accept living small the same way they did. Look at this harsh truth. My friend, most of us have been brainwashed with the idea that they have lived longer than we have. They have more hard-earned experience. And you never lose by listening to older people. This is one of the most toxic lies in human history. Age is not proportional to wisdom. Age is sometimes nothing more than the accumulation of mistakes repeated over and over again for decades. Machiavelli emphasized a principle of steel. Choose your advisors based on the real results they have achieved, not on the number of wrinkles on their foreheads. Trusting a failed person to teach you how to succeed is like asking a blind man for directions to the light. The only result you will get is a similar kind of lostness. Let me tell you about Machiavelli himself. He once served the Republic of Florence as a diplomat and a high-ranking official, but when the Medici family returned to power in 1512, his life turned in a dark direction. He was removed from office, imprisoned, brutally tortured on the strappado, and pushed to the margins of political life. From a man standing near the center of power, he became someone cast out of the real game. It was during that painful period of exile that he wrote, "The Prince." This creates a memorable paradox. A man who no longer held real power became the sharpest analyst of power of all time. But what is the key point here? Machiavelli did not set himself up like some moralizing old man standing above others to teach them how to live cleanly, nobly, or correctly in some dogmatic sense. He wrote from the position of a fallen man, but he did not dress up his failure as moral truth to force younger people into submission. He dissected power as it truly is, naked and ruthless. That is why, when you look at the failed elders in your family who love to lecture, you must see the difference clearly. Some people lose their position, yet still manage to extract the laws by which the world operates and warn you about them. But some failed because of their own weakness, lack of ability, and lack of decisiveness, then turned around and used age as a kind of fake throne to force the younger generation to obey them, simply to recover a little of the dignity they had left. They are not passing on the wisdom of someone who has seen through the game. They only want to turn their own failure into a compulsory mold, an artificial safe zone, so that you will never be allowed to go farther than they did, succeed beyond them, or become richer than they ever were. The person worth listening to is the one who sees the essence clearly The most dangerous person is the loser who still demands to be the referee of your life. From the lens of psychology, this behavior is called the projection of fear. When a failed elder sees you nurturing great ambitions, risky plans that they themselves were once too cowardly to pursue, they will feel threatened. Your potential success is living proof of their failure. So they use advice disguised as realism and knowing your place to hold you back. They are not protecting you from risk. They are protecting their own ego from the humiliation of watching someone younger surpass them. Machiavelli's philosophy is extremely clear. Only take advice from those who are standing where you want to go. If you want to become an exceptional investor, do not take financial advice from an uncle who has spent his whole life doing nothing but putting money in a savings account and complaining about inflation. If you want to build a happy family, do not listen to moral lectures from an uncle who has been divorced 3 times and is now living in bitterness. The life experience of a failed person is often just a long list of excuses for their own cowardice and lack of ability. So set up an advice filter immediately. Every time you hear a warning like, "Don't do that," "It's too dangerous," or "Just settle down and be stable," coldly look at the assets, family, and social position of the person speaking. If their life is a pile of ruins, then their advice is informational trash. You do not need to hate them, but you must learn how to respect them while keeping your distance. Maintain the highest level of politeness. Nod. Smile. Answer respectfully to avoid useless conflicts that drain your energy. But immediately afterward, do the exact opposite. If the logic and intuition of a warrior tell you that it is right, ask yourself one painful question. Do I want my life 20 years from now to look exactly like the person who is lecturing me right now? If the answer makes you shudder in fear, then continuing to listen to them is an act of suicide against your own future. You are allowing someone who already drove their car off a cliff to teach you how to steer. Ironically, many men out there would rather choose to live an average life just to keep the elders happy than choose greatness and be labeled arrogant or reckless. Remember, American society celebrates rule breakers like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, people who crushed every piece of safe advice to build empires. They did not become successful by listening to failed uncles back home. I challenge you to do this. Choose the elder who lectures you the most. Take a sheet of paper and list the 3 greatest achievements they have accomplished in life. If you cannot find even one thing that makes you aspire to be like them, then immediately remove everything they say from your mind today. Treat it like the white noise of life. Comment below, "Right now, I choose strength. I stand apart." This is not just a line of text. It is a contract, a declaration of your ultimate control over your own destiny. Where are you standing? Will you continue to be a pawn in your family's play? Or will you be the one conducting the game? Stay silent about your big plans. Respect your own boundaries. And most importantly, act. Do not let the words of mediocre people turn you into a defective version of them. The future belongs to those who dare to awaken. You are one of them. Conclusion. We have just stripped bare the cruelest hidden corners of trust beneath our own roof. Machiavelli does not teach you how to become a cold-blooded person. He teaches you how not to become an innocent lamb among wolves, wearing the name of blood ties. Remember that real power does not lie in how many assets you possess, but in whether you can command the coordinates of your own soul without allowing anyone, even those closest to you, to manipulate or redirect your destiny. I know that accepting this truth may make you feel alone, but that is the price of awakening. Have you ever had to sacrifice a great dream just to please a controller in your family? Or have you ever been betrayed by the very person you trusted most? Tell your story or share a new realization you have just come to after this video in the comments below. This is not just a podcast channel. It is a space where independent minds find one another. The difference between the resigned crowd and a true prince lies in the courage to look straight at the harsh truth without blinking. But recognizing the truth is only the beginning. To build a solid personal empire, you need a sharper mindset and even more practical strategies. Do not let your journey of awakening stop here. Hit subscribe and join our community so we can strengthen our will and sharpen our minds together every day. Destiny belongs to the one who dares to act, not the one who waits for favors to be handed down by family. Welcome to the world of those who steer their own lives.